Hello parents, Grace here with Amazing Parenting. Today we're going to talk about what to do before your children come. I'll be right back. Okay, before we get into the video, my name is Grace and here we do all things parenting. This is Amazing Parenting. Share these videos with at least 10 other parents. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and click the notification bell to all. That way you'll be one of the first people to receive my videos as soon as I upload them. Okay, let's get straight into the video. Before you have your children, there are things you need to be talking about with your spouse, with your partner, before the children come. So I've picked just 10 areas that you need to be talking about, or you should be talking about with your spouse before you have children. Okay. So then send this video to newlyweds, couples that have not had their first child yet. This video will be great for them. Okay, number one. So we're going to talk about 10 things for you and your spouse to talk about before you have children. Number one, talk about how many children you want. You know, I remember when I got married, well, before we got married, my husband wanted 5 children and I wanted 2. So there had to be a compromise. So we've got 2 children now. So talk about how many children you want, okay? That's one of the first things you talk about with your spouse to be. How many children do you want? Because they'll have to compromise. You may have to compromise. You may have to increase how many children you want, or they may need to decrease. It depends. So talk about how many children you want. Number 2, your parenting style, how you were brought up as a child, how your spouse was brought up. What things do you want to bring into your parenting that your parents did with you, and what things do you want to leave behind? There are some things that your spouse really wants to bring in, and you're thinking, well, it's not something that I want to bring into my kind of parenting style. So talk about your parenting styles with each other, okay? Number 3, schooling. What kind of school do you want to send your children to? There are 5 main avenues or vehicles of education. There's the government-run education, there's private education, there's grammar school, there's home schooling, there's private schooling, and there's boarding school. So talk about what kind of school do you want your children to go to? Maybe you went to a boarding school and your spouse went to public school. Talk about the benefits, the differences, the pros, the cons, and in this era, what will be best for your children. And if you want to send your child to a school where it's parent funded, you may need to start looking at a financial plan. So by the time your child is 5, the money is in place for your child to start in that school where you're going to pay for them to be. So talk about the kind of schooling, kind of education you want your children to have. Okay. Number 4, where are you going to live? Where are you going to live before your children are born? I remember before my son was born, we were living in a flat, and I didn't want my son to be born. I didn't want to start having children in a 1-bedroom flat. So we talked about where we want to move to, where we want to live, what kind of house do we want. Okay, so talk about where you want to live. Do you want to remain in the country that you're in? Do you want to emigrate? Talk about these things. Okay. Number 5, work. What's work going to look like? Are you both going to work? Are one of you going to give up their job? Are one of you going to work days? One of you going to work nights? I remember that's what me and my husband did. I worked days, he worked nights. That way there was no childcare issues. Because when I was at work, he was at home. When he was at work, I was at home. So talk about work. How are you going to manage? How are you going to juggle and balance your work once your children come? Number 6, your religion. Are you going to raise your children in a particular religious home? Talk about it. Your spouse might believe one thing, you might believe another. Talk about how you're going to raise your children concerning their spiritual life. These things must be discussed before your children come along. Number 7, discipline. Who's going to be the disciplinarian in the home? Is it going to be you, the mum, you, the dad? Talk about it. Who was the one when you was growing up who was the disciplinarian? Discuss it. Who's going to be dishing out the punishment and the putting them on the naughty step? Who's going to be doing that? Or who's going to be doing that the majority of the time? Discuss it. Discuss discipline. Number 8, will in-laws come to stay at your house at any length of time? So you're married and your mother-in-law wants to come over, and will she stay in the house with you? Or will you have provisions for her to stay or for them to stay in a hotel? Discuss that. Will we be having family members just come and spend the weekend, or come and spend a week, or come and stay and live in our house? Talk about these things, okay? Number 9, will your children be allowed to have sleepovers? Either their friends come and sleep in your house, or they go and sleep in their friend's house. This is a big thing for children. You might not think it now, but this is a big deal for children. Discuss it. Is it something we're going to allow? What kind of things will we allow and disallow our children to do? Talk about it. Number 10, where shall we go on our first holiday? You might be thinking, what? Holiday? Plan it. Plan it. Before you know it, the children will be there and life will kick in. Plan your holiday. Begin to build memories for and with your children. So plan your first family holiday. Okay? That's all 10 things to think about before your children arrive. Okay, remember to subscribe and share these videos. And remember, all parents can be great parents. It's a journey, and we will get there. Thank you.